Ladies and gentlemen, do you ever feel like something is standing between you and the life you've always dreamed of? Like you're running a race, but your legs are shackled? Or like you're climbing a mountain, but the weight on your back is too heavy to bear? What if I told you that these struggles aren't just challenges? What if they are demons? Silent, insidious forces that slowly and deliberately keep you from living your fullest potential. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Demons? Are we talking about the supernatural, the stuff of horror stories and nightmares? No, I'm not talking about creatures with horns or dark figures lurking in the shadows. The demons I'm referring to are much more subtle, but just as dangerous. Maybe even more so. These demons aren't outside of you, waiting in some dark corner of the world. They're within you, and they're in the very people you surround yourself with. They lurk in your thoughts, your fears, your actions, and in the relationships you allow to define your life. But here's the thing. These demons are not invincible. They are not as powerful as they may seem. Once you spot them, once you recognize the truth of their existence, they lose their hold over you. You have the power to break free, but first, you must learn how to identify them. The purpose of this talk isn't just to make you aware of the demons in your life. It's to give you the tools to confront and defeat them. So let's dive into the darkness and uncover what's holding you back. Let's start with the most insidious demon of them all, toxic people. We've all encountered them, those individuals who seem to drain the life force out of us, leaving us exhausted, frustrated, and defeated. They may be family members, colleagues, friends, or even strangers who consistently bring negativity, gossip, and drama into our lives. At first, it might seem innocent enough. Maybe they're just venting about their bad day or complaining about their circumstance. But slowly, like a poison, it seeps into your soul. You might find yourself questioning your worth after speaking with them, or second-guessing your decisions. Perhaps they belittle you, criticize your every move, or offer unsolicited advice that only undermines your confidence. Over time, these interactions chip away at your spirit, and the demon of negativity begins to control the narrative of your life. How can you spot this demon? Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with certain people. Do you feel uplifted and energized, or drained and discouraged? Do you feel inspired or small? Toxic people might appear charming at first, but their true colors eventually show. They'll find ways to manipulate you, criticize you, and make you feel like you're never enough. Their existence in your life is not just an inconvenience. It's a silent cancer, eroding your sense of self-worth and peace. But spotting them is just the first step. The next step is taking action. You don't have to cut them out completely, but you must set boundaries, protect your energy. If someone consistently brings negativity into your life, it's okay to distance yourself. You deserve to be surrounded by people who lift you up, not pull you down. And if the toxic people are in your own family or your inner circle, it becomes even more crucial to define your limits and stand firm in your self-respect. Now, let's turn inward and face the next demon, self-sabotage. This demon is tricky because it hides behind your own thoughts, your own behaviors, and your own fears. It's the part of you that tells you you're not good enough. It's the voice that says, what if you fail? What if you're not as talented as you think? It's the procrastination that keeps you from taking action, the perfectionism that makes you endlessly tweak and edit. never satisfied with what you've done. It's the fear of taking that leap into the unknown, the hesitation that keeps you stuck in a cycle of doing just enough, but never going all the way. We all have a tendency to self-sabotage. It might show up as procrastination, fear of failure, or even a fear of success. You might be so afraid of what could happen if you succeed that you subconsciously hold yourself back. You might sabotage your relationships, your career, or your dreams, because deep down, you don't believe you deserve more. How do you spot this demon? Pay attention to your patterns. Do you have a tendency to put things off? Do you constantly talk yourself out of opportunities or hold yourself back from pursuing your passions? These are signs of self-sabotage. And while it's normal to have fears, you must confront them head on. Acknowledge the fear, understand its roots, and choose to act anyway. Every time you overcome a small act of self-sabotage, you gain a little more strength, and the demon loses its power over you. Next, we must address another powerful demon, fear and doubt. Fear is a universal emotion. We all experience it. But fear that is allowed to run unchecked can turn into a demon. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. These fears are not just thoughts. They are barriers that keep you from achieving your goals, from living your purpose. Doubt often goes hand in hand with fear. It whispers, what if you're not good enough? What if you're making a mistake? Fear and doubt are two of the most powerful demons because they make us question everything. They cause us to second-guess our abilities, to paralyze us into inaction, and to live a life of what-ifs rather than one of bold choices and brave decisions. How do you spot fear and doubt in your life? It often shows up as hesitation, overthinking, or avoidance. It's the voice that stops you from going after your dreams, that convinces you to play it safe. If you find yourself constantly doubting your worth or your decisions, that's fear and doubt at work. But here's the truth. Fear is not an enemy. It's an indicator that you are stepping out of your comfort zone, that you are growing. Doubt is a sign that you are moving into unfamiliar territory, which means you are on the brink of transformation. To defeat fear and doubt, you must confront them directly. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Every time you push through your fear, you strip it of its power. And remember, every successful person has faced fear and doubt. The key difference is that they didn't let it stop them. Now let's talk about the demon of lack of purpose. This demon is more subtle, yet just as destructive. When you don't have a clear sense of purpose or direction in life, it's easy to feel lost. You wake up each day unsure of what you're doing, where you're going, or what you're working toward. This confusion, this feeling of being adrift, can create a sense of emptiness that no amount of success or achievement can fill. How do you spot the demon of lack of purpose? It shows up as a sense of dissatisfaction with life, as though something is missing, but you can't quite put your finger on it. You might feel like you're stuck in a rut, unable to move forward because you don't know where forward even leads. You might chase external goals, money, fame, recognition, only to find that they don't fulfill you. To defeat this demon, you must take the time to reflect on what truly matters to you. What do you want out of life? What makes you feel alive, passionate, and motivated? Find that purpose and let it guide your actions. A life without purpose is like a ship without a rudder. It will drift aimlessly. But with purpose, you will have direction, and every step will take you closer to your destination. Lastly, we have the most powerful antidote to all these demons: empowerment and positivity. This is the final weapon in your arsenal. The key to defeating these demons is to fill your life with empowerment. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not tear you down. Focus on positive thoughts, healthy habits, and actions that propel you forward. Develop an unshakable belief in yourself and your ability to overcome any challenge. Empowerment isn't just about taking action. It's about shifting your mindset to believe that you are capable, worthy, and deserving of success. When you fill your life with positivity and empowerment, the demons lose their power. They are no match for your resilience, your determination, and your vision for your future. In conclusion, the demons in your life are not invincible. They are real, but they are not unbeatable. By recognizing the toxic people, the self-sabotage, the fear, the doubt, and the lack of purpose, you can take control of your life and begin to remove these negative forces. You have the power to change the narrative of your life, to break free from the demons that hold you back. All it takes is awareness, action, and a belief that you are capable of creating the life you deserve. So what are you waiting for? The demons may be real, but so is your power. When we speak of toxic people as a demon in your life, it's important to recognize that these individuals can take many forms, yet their impact is universally damaging. The demon of toxic people often hides behind a facade of charm or a mask of familiarity. They may be family members, friends, colleagues, or even acquaintances who initially appear harmless or perhaps even caring. However, over time, their presence in your life proves to be draining, harmful, and disruptive. At first, it might seem insignificant. Perhaps they're just venting about their bad day, sharing their frustrations, or seeking attention. You may offer them support or a listening ear, believing that you're being a good friend, family member, or colleague. You might think everyone has their rough patches. It's only natural for them to need someone to talk to. But the problem arises when these behaviors become a pattern and are consistently negative. Instead of feeling inspired, supported, or uplifted after spending time with them, you feel emotionally drained, unmotivated, or even worse, diminished in some way. Toxic people tend to exploit your time and energy without reciprocating in any meaningful way. They may engage in constant complaining, negative chatter, or create drama out of the smallest issues. While every person can have bad days, a toxic person's negativity becomes a continuous thread that weaves through every conversation and interaction. They often leave you feeling weighed down, questioning yourself, or second-guessing your decision. Their emotions and actions may overshadow your own, taking up space in your life that should be reserved for healthy, empowering relationships. One of the key traits of a toxic person is manipulation. They may use guilt, shame, or emotional blackmail to get their way. They could make you feel responsible for their unhappiness or try to convince you that you are the cause of their problems. When you are around such people, you may begin to feel like you're walking on eggshells, unsure of how your words or actions will be received. They might even go so far as to twist your words or create conflict out of thin air, often making you feel like you're always in the wrong. Another hallmark of toxic behavior is their ability to belittle others. They may downplay your successes or mock your dreams, sometimes doing so in the guise of helpful advice or constructive criticism. Instead of cheering you on, they will often try to tear you down, leaving you questioning your worth and abilities. Over time, these subtle yet hurtful behaviors erode your self-esteem. It's easy to feel as though you're constantly trying to prove yourself. And no matter how much effort you put in, it will never be enough. The more you engage with them, the less confident you become in your own decisions. The demon of toxic people often thrives in an environment of control and dependence. They may create an unhealthy power dynamic where you feel obligated to cater to their needs and desires at the expense of your own well-being. They might demand your time and attention, leaving little room for you to focus on your own goals, relationships, or personal growth. In these relationships, your needs become secondary to theirs, and this imbalance can lead to resentment and burnout. It's easy to overlook these warning signs at first. Toxic people are adept at masking their behavior, and you may convince yourself that it's just a phase or that you're being overly sensitive. You might even feel guilty for thinking poorly of them, especially if they've been in your life for a long time or share a close bond with you. However, ignoring the impact of toxic behavior is dangerous, as it only allows these negative dynamics to continue unchecked. The key to spotting this demon is to pay attention to how you feel after spending time with someone. Do you leave interactions feeling uplifted, energized, and positive, or do you feel drained, anxious, or defeated? If you consistently feel exhausted or emotionally destabilized after being around certain people, it may be time to reassess the relationship. Recognizing toxic individuals in your life isn't just about identifying harmful behavior. It's about realizing the toll that this behavior is taking on your mental and emotional health. Once you spot these toxic patterns, the next step is to take action. Setting boundaries is crucial. It's okay to say no, to protect your time and energy, and to distance yourself from people who continually cause harm. You don't have to cut them out of your life completely, but you must create space for yourself and prioritize your well-being. People who thrive on negativity, manipulation, or control will often resist your boundaries, making the process of distancing yourself difficult. They might guilt trip you or try to guilt you into feeling responsible for their happiness. But maintaining these boundaries is not only necessary, it's an act of self-respect. By protecting your peace, you ensure that your energy is directed toward people and experiences that nurture and support your growth. Ultimately, toxic people are a demon in your life because they prevent you from becoming the best version of yourself. They distract you from your purpose, sabotage your confidence, and drain your vitality. However, recognizing their presence and removing their influence opens up the space for positive, healthy relationships to flourish. When you eliminate the toxicity from your life, you create room for the people who genuinely support and encourage you, and you'll begin to feel lighter, stronger, and more capable of achieving your dreams. Self-sabotage is one of the most destructive and insidious demons that many of us face in our lives. It often operates quietly and unnoticed, making us believe that our failures are due to external circumstances, luck, or a lack of opportunities, rather than the choices and behaviors we unconsciously adopt. The truth is that self-sabotage is a pattern of actions, thoughts, or inactions that create obstacles to achieving our goals. reaching our potential, or living a fulfilled life. It can appear in various forms, from procrastination to perfectionism to fear of success, and it often stems from deep-seated beliefs about self-worth and fear of failure. One of the most common ways self-sabotage manifests is through procrastination. The act of putting things off can seem harmless at first, but over time, it becomes a pattern that prevents us from completing tasks, pursuing dreams, or moving forward in life. The reasons behind procrastination are complex. It can stem from an underlying fear of failure, a belief that we're not capable of succeeding, or even the overwhelming pressure of perfectionism. In some cases, procrastination might be a form of self-protection. By delaying action, we avoid the discomfort of trying and possibly failing. However, what this does is keep us stuck in a cycle of avoidance where our dreams and goals remain unfulfilled, and we continue to feel the weight of uncompleted tasks hanging over us. Another form of self-sabotage is perfectionism. On the surface, perfectionism may appear like a strength, striving for excellence, doing your best, and never settling for mediocrity. However, in reality, it often leads to feelings of inadequacy, fear of failure, and chronic dissatisfaction. Perfectionists are often caught in the trap of believing that anything less than flawless performance is a failure, which can cause them to constantly revise and overthink their work, preventing them from completing projects or taking risks. They might spend hours, days, or even weeks on a single task, afraid that even a small flaw will ruin everything. This behavior not only delays progress, but also leads to burnout and a lack of fulfillment, because perfectionism is an unattainable goal. There will always be something more to improve, and the cycle of dissatisfaction continues. Fear of success is another form of self-sabotage that is less commonly talked about, but just as powerful. This fear is rooted in the belief that success will bring unwanted changes, expectations, or responsibilities that we're not ready for. For instance, someone might avoid going after a promotion or starting a business because they fear the pressures or attention that success would bring. It may seem illogical on the surface. Who wouldn't want success? But the fear of success often comes from a deep-seated belief that we don't deserve it, or that our lives will become unmanageable if we succeed. This fear keeps us from stepping into our full potential. And even if we take steps towards success, we may unconsciously create obstacles or retreat when things start to go well. Negative self-talk is yet another way self-sabotage manifests. The voice inside our heads that constantly tells us we're not good enough, that we'll never succeed, or that we're bound to fail is often a result of self-sabotaging beliefs. This inner critic can be incredibly harsh and demotivating, overshadowing our achievements and potential. It creates a mental barrier that keeps us from taking risks, pursuing our goals, or fully embracing new opportunities. This constant stream of negativity shapes our actions, leading us to abandon projects, avoid challenges, or never try at all. The fear of not living up to our own expectations or the expectations of others can cripple our ability to make progress. Self-doubt is also a key component of self-sabotage. When we don't believe in our abilities, we make decisions based on fear and insecurity rather than confidence. We might second-guess ourselves, question every move we make, and be paralyzed by the thought of making the wrong choice. This constant self-doubt results in a lack of decisiveness and often leads to inaction. It's a vicious cycle where we avoid taking necessary steps because we don't trust ourselves, which then confirms our belief that we're incapable or unworthy. Self-doubt prevents us from embracing our full potential, and it keeps us trapped in a place of mediocrity, even when we are fully capable of greatness. One of the most damaging aspects of self-sabotage is that it reinforces a sense of helplessness and hopelessness. When we repeatedly engage in behaviors that prevent our own success, we begin to internalize the belief that we're not worthy of achieving our goals, or that we're simply not capable of overcoming obstacles. This belief feeds into a cycle of negativity and discouragement, making it even harder to break free from self-sabotaging patterns. Instead of recognizing our potential, we focus on our limitations, constantly telling ourselves that we can't do it, that it's too hard, or that we'll never succeed. Recognizing self-sabotage in your life requires a willingness to be brutally honest with yourself. It's about examining the patterns of behavior, thought, and emotion that consistently hold you back. Are you procrastinating on things that matter most to you? Are you afraid of success or setting impossible standards for yourself? Do you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough or that you'll never succeed? These are all signs that you may be engaging in self-sabotage. The key is to confront these behaviors with compassion and understanding rather than judgment. Self-sabotage often comes from deep fears and insecurities, and breaking free from it requires addressing these underlying issues with kindness and patience. To overcome self-sabotage, you need to shift your mindset. Acknowledge your fears, doubts, and imperfections, and then challenge them. Instead of giving in to procrastination, take small steps toward your goals every day. Recognize that perfectionism is an illusion, and allow yourself to make mistakes without harsh judgment. Embrace success as a natural result of your hard work and effort rather than something to fear. Most importantly, replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations and constructive thoughts. You have the power to change the narrative of your life, to step away from the cycle of self-sabotage, and to embrace the belief that you are capable of achieving everything you set your mind to. Fear is one of the most powerful and paralyzing demons in life. It can silently seep into every aspect of your existence, affecting your decisions, relationships, and even your sense of self. Fear has the ability to stop you from pursuing your dreams, holding you back from becoming the person you were meant to be. What makes fear so dangerous is its ability to distort your perception of reality, convincing you that something is far worse than it truly is, or that failure is inevitable. The result is often inaction, avoidance, and a life filled with unrealized potential. One of the most prevalent forms of fear is the fear of failure. This particular fear can create a mental barrier that makes it nearly impossible to take any meaningful action. When you're terrified of failing, you begin to hold back. You might procrastinate, make excuses, or avoid situations where there's a risk of falling short. The thought of failing can feel so overwhelming that you'd rather do nothing at all than risk facing the disappointment, embarrassment, or self-criticism that often accompanies failure. Unfortunately, this kind of avoidance can trap you in a cycle of stagnation where you don't take chances or push yourself out of your comfort zone. Ironically, the fear of failure often leads to failure itself, because without taking risks, there is no opportunity to succeed. But the fear continues to hold you hostage, making you believe that staying safe and small is the best way to avoid pain, even though this very approach ensures a life of missed opportunities. Closely tied to the fear of failure is the fear of judgment. This fear can be paralyzing in its own right, preventing you from speaking your truth, expressing your opinions, or doing what you truly want to do. The fear of being judged by others can manifest as an obsessive concern about how you are perceived. You may spend excessive amounts of time trying to meet the expectations of others, all while suppressing your own desires and authenticity. Whether it's the fear of being criticized for your appearance, your ideas, or your actions, this demon can keep you from living life fully. The worry about judgment often leads to self-censorship and conformity, making you feel as if your value is determined by external validation. Over time, this builds up feelings of insecurity and resentment as you become disconnected from your true self and trapped in a version of life that is shaped by others' opinions rather than your own. Another aspect of fear that can paralyze you is the fear of the unknown. This fear stems from uncertainty about what the future holds, and it can keep you stuck in situations that are no longer serving you. It's easy to fall into the comfort of the familiar, even when you know deep down that it's not the life you want. The thought of venturing into unknown territory, whether it's a new job, a new relationship, or a new city, can feel overwhelming. The fear of what might happen, the possibility of things going wrong, can keep you anchored in a life that is unfulfilling. The unknown represents everything outside of your current understanding and control, and for some, that is enough to create paralyzing anxiety. Yet it's only by stepping into the unknown that you can grow and evolve. The process of pushing through this fear opens up opportunities, new experiences, and ultimately leads you toward a life of greater fulfillment. The fear of success, although less commonly discussed, is another demon that can prevent you from reaching your full potential. Success can be intimidating because it often brings with it more responsibility, higher expectations, and increased visibility. There's a hidden belief that with success comes a loss of privacy, an increase in pressure, or an inability to live up to the new standards you've set for yourself. The fear of success can also stem from a deep-seated belief that you are unworthy of achieving your goals, or that you're not capable of handling the consequences of success. As a result, you may unconsciously create barriers or sabotage your own progress. You might put off taking action, doubt your abilities, or even downplay your achievements. The fear of success makes you question whether the rewards are worth the risks, and it can stop you from going after what you truly want. The fear of rejection is another debilitating form of fear that can prevent you from pursuing relationships, both personal and professional. This fear stems from the deep desire to be accepted and loved by others. It is rooted in our need for validation and connection, and the thought of being rejected or abandoned can be excruciating. As a result, you may avoid putting yourself in situations where rejection is a possibility, even if that means missing out on meaningful opportunities or connections. The fear of rejection often leads to isolation, self-doubt, and a deep feeling of unworthiness. You may stay in relationships that don't serve you, or hold back from pursuing your true desires because you're afraid of being rejected by others. This fear keeps you stuck in patterns of people-pleasing, and over time, it chips away at your sense of self and prevents you from building authentic, fulfilling relationships. The key to overcoming these fears is not to eliminate them entirely, but to acknowledge them and work through them. Fear is a natural part of the human experience, and it's something that everyone faces at different points in their lives. The problem arises when fear starts to control your life and keeps you from taking action. The first step in facing your fears is to recognize them for what they are. Illusion. Fear often presents itself as a way to protect you, but it is based on imagined scenarios, not reality. It tricks you into thinking that staying in your comfort zone is the safest option, even when it's the very thing that's holding you back from growth and happiness. Once you've identified your fears, the next step is to take small, incremental steps toward facing them. This could mean setting a goal that challenges your fear of failure, or doing something outside of your comfort zone to overcome the fear of judgment. By taking action despite your fears, you start to build resilience and confidence. The more you expose yourself to what scares you, the less power it will have over you. Each step forward is a victory, and over time, you'll find that the things that once terrified you no longer have the same grip on your life. It's also essential to replace fear-based thoughts with empowering, positive ones. Fear often thrives on negative thinking, and the more you feed it, the stronger it becomes. By shifting your mindset to one of possibility and self-belief, you can begin to dismantle the grip fear has on you. Understand that failure is not the end, but a stepping stone to success. Embrace rejection as an opportunity for growth, and know that stepping into the unknown is often the doorway to new possibilities. Ultimately, fear is a demon that thrives in the absence of action and self-belief. When you take charge of your life and confront your fears, you break the cycle of paralysis and move forward toward the life you deserve. Toxic environments act as an insidious demon in your life because they have a subtle yet powerful way of eroding your mental and emotional well-being. Whether in a workplace, a social group, or even within a family dynamic, a toxic environment is one where negativity, criticism, stress, and unhealthy behaviors dominate. These environments are often challenging to escape, especially when they are ingrained in your daily routine, or when you feel a sense of obligation or dependence on the people involved. However, the longer you remain in a toxic environment, the more damage it can cause to your mental health, your confidence, and your overall sense of self-worth. One of the key signs of a toxic environment is the constant presence of negativity. In such spaces, it feels as though the air is thick with complaining, judgment, and criticism. People in these environments may constantly gossip, blame others, or focus on the worst possible outcomes, regardless of the situation. This persistent negativity drains your energy and leaves you feeling mentally fatigued and emotionally worn out. Over time, it becomes difficult to maintain a positive mindset or a hopeful outlook on your future. You may even begin to internalize the negative messages around you, believing that things will never improve or that you are somehow not good enough. A toxic environment also breeds a culture of competition rather than collaboration. In these spaces, people often view each other as rivals rather than teammates. Instead of fostering an atmosphere of mutual support and cooperation, toxic environments encourage backstabbing, manipulation, and a win-at-all-costs mentality. This constant sense of competition can make you feel isolated and alienated. You may be hesitant to share ideas, seek help, or collaborate with others, fearing that any vulnerability will be used against you. Instead of lifting each other up, people in toxic environments tear each other down, which can create a pervasive sense of insecurity and anxiety. Another aspect of toxic environments is the lack of boundaries and respect for personal space. In these spaces, people often overstep boundaries, demanding too much of your time, energy, and attention. There is an expectation that you will always be available, always accommodating, and always putting others' needs ahead of your own. When your personal boundaries are constantly violated, it can lead to feelings of resentment and frustration. You may begin to feel as though you are nothing more than a tool for others' convenience, rather than an individual with your own needs and desires. Over time, this sense of disempowerment can cause you to lose touch with your sense of self and make it harder to assert your needs in any situation. A toxic environment can also be characterized by a lack of trust or open communication. In spaces where gossip and secrecy thrive, people are often hesitant to speak up or express themselves honestly, fearing that their words will be twisted or used against them. This lack of trust fosters an atmosphere of fear and paranoia, where everyone is on edge, wondering who they can trust and whether their actions will be misinterpreted. When open communication is stifled, it becomes impossible to address problems or conflicts in a healthy way. Instead of resolving issues, they fester and grow, creating an environment that is fraught with tension, uncertainty, and anxiety. Furthermore, toxic environments often allow or even encourage abusive behaviors, whether verbal, emotional, or sometimes even physical. In these spaces, people may feel that it is acceptable to belittle others, make hurtful comments, or engage in bullying behavior without any consequences. The environment becomes one where manipulation and control are common, and the power dynamics are skewed to benefit certain individuals at the expense of others. Those who are vulnerable or who lack the ability to stand up for themselves often bear the brunt of this behavior, resulting in a steady decline in their mental and emotional health. Over time, individuals in toxic environments can feel helpless, as though they are at the mercy of the negativity around them. One of the most damaging aspects of a toxic environment is that it can erode your self-esteem and confidence. When you are surrounded by constant negativity, criticism, and manipulation, it becomes difficult to see your own worth. You may start to believe the negative things that others say about you, or you may begin to question your own abilities and talents. In toxic environments, it is easy to lose sight of your strengths, accomplishments, and potential. The constant bombardment of negativity chips away at your confidence, and before long, you may feel as though you are not capable of achieving your goals or living a fulfilling life. Escaping a toxic environment is often easier said than done. In many cases, these environments are deeply embedded in your life, whether through work, family, or social circles, and leaving them may seem impossible. However, the longer you stay in a toxic space, the more damage it will do to your mental health and sense of self. The first step in breaking free from a toxic environment is recognizing it for what it is. It is essential to acknowledge that the negativity and dysfunction around you are not a reflection of your worth or abilities. Toxic environments often thrive on making individuals feel small, insignificant, or incapable. Understanding that the issues within the environment are not your fault is crucial to regaining your sense of power and agency. Once you have identified the toxicity in your environment, the next step is to set boundaries and protect your mental and emotional health. Setting boundaries may involve limiting your time with toxic individuals, refusing to engage in gossip or negative conversations, or distancing yourself from situations that cause you stress or anxiety. You may also need to assertively communicate your needs, even if it feels uncomfortable. Standing up for yourself and refusing to accept toxic behavior is a powerful step toward reclaiming your sense of self-worth. It is also important to seek out supportive spaces and people who uplift and encourage you. Rebuilding your confidence and mental well-being after spending time in a toxic environment requires surrounding yourself with individuals who value and respect you. These supportive relationships will help restore your sense of self and remind you of your worth, counteracting the negative messages you may have internalized in toxic environments. Ultimately, toxic environments are a demon because they undermine your mental and emotional well-being, making it difficult to thrive. By recognizing the signs of toxicity, setting clear boundaries, and seeking out healthier, more supportive environments, you can protect your peace and well-being. Remember, you deserve to be in spaces where you are respected, valued, and encouraged to grow. Taking the necessary steps to escape toxic environments is an act of self-love and an essential part of living a fulfilling, meaningful life. The influence of negative people is one of the most powerful yet covert demons in life. We all encounter individuals who, whether consciously or unconsciously, drain our energy, diminish our sense of self-worth, and prevent us from reaching our potential. These individuals might be pessimistic, critical, jealous, manipulative, or simply toxic in the way they interact with others. While we often understand that surrounding ourselves with positive, uplifting people is crucial to our well-being, the reality is that negative people can be difficult to avoid, especially when they are family members, close friends, or colleagues. However, the impact they have on our lives can be more destructive than we realize, especially when their behavior goes unchecked. One of the most immediate effects of negative people is that they can create an environment of constant stress and anxiety. If you are frequently surrounded by people who complain, gossip, or focus on the negative aspects of life, it becomes difficult to maintain a positive mindset. These individuals often talk about the worst-case scenarios, feeding your own fears and insecurities. Their negativity is contagious. Even if you are generally an optimistic person, constant exposure to negativity can make you start seeing the world through a similar lens. The weight of their complaints and criticisms can make you feel as if the world is full of problems rather than possibilities. Over time, this environment of negativity can impact your mental health, making you feel drained, hopeless, or perpetually on edge. Negative people also have a way of undermining your confidence and self-esteem. They often engage in subtle forms of criticism that make you question your abilities or decisions. This can manifest as backhanded compliments, judgmental remarks, or outright dismissals of your ideas or goals. The negative energy they project makes you feel as though you are never good enough, no matter how hard you try. Over time, their constant undermining chips away at your self-worth. You may begin to second-guess your choices, downplay your achievements, and become overly concerned with pleasing or gaining the approval of others. This undermines your sense of agency and makes it difficult to pursue your dreams or take risks. You might even find yourself avoiding certain opportunities because you fear their criticism, or because you start to believe their negative assessments of your abilities. In addition to affecting your self-esteem, negative people can prevent you from growing or moving forward in life. They tend to discourage you from taking risks or stepping outside your comfort zone, often because they themselves are afraid to do so. They may offer unsolicited advice based on their own fears or limited perspectives, which can make you question whether you are making the right choices. Instead of supporting your growth, they hold you back by projecting their own insecurities and limiting beliefs onto you. Their negativity can convince you that your dreams are unrealistic, that you will fail, or that it's better to stay where you are rather than try something new. This can lead to a sense of stagnation where you feel trapped in your current circumstances, unable to break free and reach your full potential. Another detrimental effect of negative people is that they can drain your emotional energy. Emotional vampires, as they are sometimes called, feed off your attention, empathy, and goodwill. These individuals often make everything about themselves, leaving little room for your needs or feelings. They demand constant emotional support without offering any in return, making you feel as though you are always giving and never receiving. This one-sided dynamic can lead to burnout, where you feel emotionally exhausted and depleted. Rather than feeling uplifted by your relationships, you find yourself giving more than you can handle, while receiving little or no emotional nourishment. Over time, this constant emotional drain can lead to feelings of resentment and frustration. You may begin to feel as though you are doing all the work in maintaining the relationship, while the other person offers little in terms of care, support, or understanding. Negative people can also create conflict and drama in your life. They tend to stir up unnecessary problems, whether through gossip, manipulation, or outright confrontation. Their need to create chaos or drama can pull you into situations that are emotionally taxing or mentally exhausting. You may find yourself involved in arguments, misunderstandings, or unnecessary conflicts that divert your attention and energy away from your goals and priorities. These individuals thrive on drama and seek to drag others into it, often making you feel like you are walking on eggshells around them. This constant tension and unpredictability can create an environment of stress and discomfort where you are always unsure of what will happen next or how you will be treated. This unpredictability can make it difficult to feel secure in your relationships, as you are always anticipating the next conflict or crisis. Furthermore, negative people can impact your perspective on life and your relationships with others. When you are surrounded by negativity, you begin to see the world through a lens of distrust, fear, and cynicism. You may start to believe that everyone is out to get you, that success is unattainable, or that most people are not worth your time and energy. This skewed perspective can prevent you from forming meaningful connections with others as you become more guarded and less open to new experiences or people. The influence of negative people makes it difficult to find joy in your accomplishments. Appreciate the positive aspects of your life or see the potential for growth in your relationship. Recognizing the influence of negative people in your life is essential if you are to reclaim your peace and sense of purpose. The first step is acknowledging that their negativity is not your responsibility and that you do not have to absorb it. You cannot control other people's behavior, but you can control how much you allow their energy to affect you. Setting boundaries is critical in protecting yourself from negative people. This might involve limiting your exposure to them, refusing to engage in negative conversations, or assertively expressing when their behavior is harmful to you. You do not have to tolerate negativity or criticism, especially when it is not constructive. In some cases, it may be necessary to distance yourself from these individuals altogether. While this can be challenging, especially if the person is a family member or close friend, it is often the only way to protect your well-being. Ending toxic relationships allows you to create space for more supportive, positive people who encourage and uplift you. It also gives you the freedom to focus on your own growth and happiness without the constant interference of negativity. In other situations, changing the dynamic of the relationship might be possible through open and honest communication. By expressing how their negativity affects you, you may be able to help them recognize the impact of their behavior While this approach may not always work, it can lead to healthier, more balanced interactions in some cases. Ultimately, the influence of negative people is a powerful force that can keep you from living your best life. By recognizing their impact, setting clear boundaries, and seeking out positive, supportive relationships, you can free yourself from their hold and cultivate a life filled with encouragement, growth, and happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the end of this discussion, it's important to recognize the power that these demons, fear, toxic environments, and negative people can have on our lives. They may not always be visible, but their effects can be deeply felt in our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. By acknowledging their presence and understanding their impact, we give ourselves the ability to fight back and regain control over our lives. Confronting these challenges head-on requires courage, self-awareness, and a willingness to protect and prioritize our peace and growth. It's about making conscious choices, setting boundaries, and surrounding ourselves with positivity and support. Remember, you have the power to change the narrative, to break free from what holds you back, and to create the life you deserve. One of purpose, fulfillment, and strength. Good luck on your journey. May you be fearless in the face of adversity, unwavering in your commitment to your own growth, and resilient against any demon that stands in your way. Keep pushing forward, believe in yourself, and know that you are capable of overcoming anything that comes your way. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on these ideas and for being a part of this conversation. Take these insights with you and let them inspire you to live a life that is truly your own.